Fists before GTA gave you guns, it gave you fists. And across the entire series, unarmed combat has been a constant, clumsy, brutal, and surprisingly effective in the right hands. In the early GTA titles, fist fighting was basic to the point of being almost useless. But by San Andreas, Rockstar had built an entire martial arts progression system around it. CJ could train at gyms, learn different fighting styles, and become genuinely dangerous in hand-to-hand combat. Kickboxing, street fighting, and even a Shaolin-inspired style were all unlockable. In GTA 5, the unarmed combat system is simpler but still functional: a quick punch, a charged heavy attack, and a combat roll that most players never use. Fists broke the rhythm of gun combat in a way that felt grounded and personal. In a series defined by explosive excess, sometimes the most satisfying thing you could do was settle a score without pulling a trigger. Melee weapons. Melee weapons are GTA's oldest love language. From the baseball bat in GTA 3 to the machete in GTA 5, the series has always understood that sometimes a gun is too clean and too distant. Melee weapons are intimate, loud, and deeply satisfying. The baseball bat became iconic almost immediately. The sound of it connecting with a pedestrian became one of the most recognizable sound effects in gaming history. San Andreas expanded the melee arsenal dramatically, adding katanas, pool cues, golf clubs, and brass knuckles. GTA 5 pushed further with crowbars, hammers, and the legendary antique cavalry dagger. Each weapon had its own swing speed, range, and damage profile. In GTA Online, melee weapons became a surprisingly viable combat strategy in close quarters. The knife in particular rewarded players who mastered stealth takedowns. Melee weapons exist in GTA to remind you that violence doesn't always require ammunition. Sometimes it just requires commitment. Pistols. The pistol is the foundation of every GTA arsenal. It's the first gun most players pick up, the weapon they default to when everything else runs dry, and the firearm that defines the tone of each era in the series. In GTA 3, the 9mm pistol was your constant companion. Reliable, plentiful, and just powerful enough to get you through the early game. Vice City introduced the Colt Python, a powerful revolver that felt like a statement weapon. San Andreas split the category between the 9mm and the Desert Eagle, rewarding players who hunted for the more powerful option. GTA 5 refined the system further, offering pistols with suppressors, extended magazines, and flashlights as attachable modifications. The combat pistol became a genuine mid-game workhorse. Pistols in GTA are never the most exciting weapon in the arsenal, but they are always the most honest. They reward accuracy, punish panic, and remind you that fundamentals matter even when you have a rocket launcher in your back pocket. Shotguns. Shotguns are GTA's room clearers. Every entry in the series has included at least one, and the design philosophy has always been the same: devastating at close range, nearly useless at distance, and deeply satisfying in the hands of a player who understands spacing. GTA 3's shotgun was simple and brutal. Vice City added the stubby shotgun, a short-barreled variant that became one of the most beloved weapons in the game for its raw stopping power in tight corridors. San Andreas introduced the SPAS-12 and the combat shotgun, giving players options between raw damage and fire rate. GTA 5 pushed the category to its peak with the pump shotgun, sawn-off shotgun, assault shotgun, and the bullpup shotgun, each filling a distinct tactical role. The sawn-off became a favorite in GTA Online for its dual-wield capability. Shotguns in GTA have always rewarded aggressive close-quarters play. Players who mastered them turned every indoor mission into a one-sided conversation. SMGs are the backbone of mid-game combat across the entire GTA series. Fast, manageable, and effective across a surprisingly wide range of situations, the submachine gun category has produced some of the most iconic weapons in the franchise. The Uzi in GTA 3 was a revelation. Players could fire it from moving vehicles, completely changing how drive-bys worked. Vice City doubled down with the Tech-9 and the MP5, giving players genuine options in terms of accuracy versus fire rate. San Andreas refined drive-by combat further, making SMGs the definitive vehicle weapon of that era. GTA 5 introduced the Micro SMG, and the exceptional machine pistol, each with full modification support. In GTA Online, SMGs became essential for motorcycle combat. The ability to fire while riding made them the default weapon for players who lived on two wheels. SMGs broke the boundary between on-foot and vehicle combat better than any other weapon category in the series. Assault rifles. Assault rifles are GTA's prestige weapons. The moment a player picks up their first assault rifle, the entire game changes. Suddenly you have range, accuracy, and stopping power that no earlier weapon could match. In GTA 3, the AK-47 felt like a turning point. Enemies that had been threatening became manageable problems with trigger discipline. Vice City added the M16, a faster and more accurate alternative that rewarded controlled bursts. San Andreas built an entire rifle progression around the AK-47 and M4, with weapon skill levels that improved accuracy and reload speed the more you used them. GTA 5 elevated the category dramatically. The advanced rifle, carbine rifle, special carbine, and bullpup rifle all offered distinct handling profiles, and the modification system allowed players to build genuinely customized combat tools. In GTA Online, assault rifles became the defining weapons of endgame combat. Players who mastered them dominated every PvP encounter. Assault rifles in GTA represent the moment the game stops being chaotic and starts being controllable. Sniper rifles. Sniper rifles are GTA's patience tax. They reward players who slow down, plan ahead, and take the shot at the right moment, everything the series otherwise actively discourages. In GTA 3, the sniper rifle was transformative. Suddenly you could engage enemies from rooftops, eliminate targets before they reached you, and approach missions with a tactical layer the game hadn't previously offered. Vice City's PSG-1 felt genuinely powerful, capable of clearing entire groups with minimal exposure. San Andreas introduced the country rifle as an early long-range option, and the sniper rifle as its superior replacement, rewarding players who explored the map. GTA 5's sniper category became the most refined in the series, the sniper rifle, heavy sniper, and marksman rifle each serving distinct roles. The heavy sniper could penetrate vehicle armor. The marksman rifle functioned as a semi-automatic precision weapon for moving targets. Sniper rifles in GTA have always been the weapon of players who understood that positioning beats firepower every single time. Machine guns. Machine guns in GTA exist to make players feel invincible, and they deliver on that promise almost every time. The heavy machine gun category has been a recurring feature across the series, typically appearing in the late game when Rockstar wants to hand you something that makes the chaos feel genuinely earned. In Vice City, the minigun made its series debut and immediately became legendary. A weapon that spun up and then reduced everything in front of it to debris, it was the definitive power fantasy of that era. San Andreas brought it back alongside the M60, giving players a slightly more controlled alternative for sustained fire. GTA 5 introduced the Combat MG and the MG as separate options, with the Combat MG becoming a staple of GTA Online's vehicle combat meta. Machine guns in GTA are never subtle and never intended to be. They are the series at its most excessive. Weapons that exist not because you need them, but because sometimes the only appropriate response to the situation is overwhelming, unrelenting firepower. Miniguns. The minigun deserves its own entry. It is not simply a machine gun, it is a statement. Across every GTA title it has appeared in, the minigun has occupied a category entirely its own. The spin-up time, the barrel rotation sound, the sheer destruction radius, everything about it communicates excess. In Vice City, finding the minigun for the first time was a genuine event. Players stopped what they were doing and simply caused destruction for the pleasure of it. San Andreas made it one of the hardest weapons to obtain legitimately, which only increased its prestige. GTA 5 placed it at the top of the weapons shop price list and made it a weapon that essentially ended any ground confrontation immediately. In GTA Online, the minigun became a chaotic equalizer, a weapon that could turn a losing battle into a massacre in seconds. The minigun is GTA's ultimate power fantasy distilled into a single weapon. Every player who has ever picked one up has immediately done something deeply irresponsible with it. That is entirely by design. Explosives. Explosives are GTA's punctuation mark. They don't end sentences, they end paragraphs. The grenade has been a series staple since the beginning, but the explosive category has grown into one of the most varied and creative weapon families in the franchise. GTA 3 offered grenades and Molotov cocktails, simple, effective, and endlessly versatile. Vice City added the remote-detonated explosive, which introduced an entirely new layer of player creativity to mission design. San Andreas expanded the category with sticky bombs, tear gas, and the fire extinguisher. GTA 5 built the most comprehensive explosive arsenal in the series. Sticky bombs, proximity mines, pipe bombs, grenades, and Molotov cocktails, all with distinct tactical applications. In GTA Online, sticky bombs became the default weapon for vehicle destruction, attached to cars and detonated remotely in ways Rockstar probably anticipated and definitely enabled. Explosives in GTA reward creative thinking over raw firepower. The players who mastered them weren't the most aggressive, they were the most patient. The RPG is GTA's exclamation point. It exists in every mainline entry for one purpose: to end the conversation immediately and dramatically. In GTA 3, the rocket launcher was a late-game discovery that completely reframed how players approached vehicle-heavy missions. A single shot could eliminate a car full of enemies, a helicopter, or an entire roadblock in one clean explosion. Vice City gave it a cinematic weight. Firing an RPG down a street and watching the chain reaction felt like directing an action movie. San Andreas added the heat-seeking rocket launcher, a variant specifically designed for aerial targets that became essential for dealing with the game's persistent police helicopters. GTA 5 split the category between the RPG and the homing launcher, the latter being one of the most consequential weapons ever added to GTA Online, responsible for thousands of destroyed aircraft and an entire culture of anti-griefing combat. The RPG in GTA is never a practical choice. It is always the right one. Flamethrowers. The flamethrower is GTA's most chaotic weapon, and that is genuinely high praise in a series that includes nuclear-adjacent explosions. It has appeared in select entries across the franchise, and every time it does, players immediately abandon whatever mission they were doing and simply experience it. In GTA San Andreas, the flamethrower was one of the most visually spectacular weapons in the game for its era, a sustained stream of fire that spread to nearby pedestrians, vehicles, and vegetation in ways that made the engine genuinely struggle. The crowd panic it generated was unlike anything another weapon could produce. GTA Vice City. Stories included it as well, cementing its status as a recurring fan favorite. The flamethrower never appears in GTA 5's base game, a conspicuous absence that players noticed and complained about at length. It is a weapon that has no tactical justification and needs none. The flamethrower exists purely as an expression of GTA's underlying philosophy that the most entertaining answer to any situation is almost always the most extreme one. Thrown weapons. Thrown weapons are GTA's most underrated category. Players scroll past them, stick to grenades out of habit, and never fully explore what the series has quietly built around projectile combat. The Molotov cocktail has been a series fixture since GTA 3, cheap, effective, and producing a fire spread that rewarded positional thinking over raw accuracy. San Andreas added tear gas, a crowd control option that most players ignored entirely, but which rewarded creative use in dense enemy scenarios. GTA 5 introduced the jerry can as a pseudo-thrown weapon, dousing surfaces with fuel and igniting them remotely created ambush opportunities that felt genuinely inventive. The throwing knife in GTA Online became a weapon of legend, technically a thrown weapon, practically a stealth assassination tool that rewarded pinpoint accuracy with instant kills. Thrown weapons in GTA are the category that separates players who use what works from players who explore what's possible. The gap between those two groups is wider than most people expect. Heavy weapons. Heavy weapons in GTA are the category that exists to make players feel like the main character of an action film that has completely lost touch with reality. The minigun gets its own entry, but the broader heavy weapon category includes some of the most creatively destructive tools in the series. The RPG and grenade launcher occupy this space across multiple titles, but GTA 5 expanded it dramatically. The railgun, introduced in GTA 5 as a rare and powerful single-shot weapon, fired a magnetically accelerated projectile that could penetrate multiple targets in a straight line. The compact grenade launcher gave players explosive capability in a package small enough to use on motorcycles. In GTA Online, heavy weapons define the power ceiling of player combat. The difference between a player carrying heavy weapons and one who wasn't was immediately apparent in any confrontation. Heavy weapons in GTA are never about subtlety. They are about consequence. Stun weapons. Stun weapons are GTA's most underappreciated design decision. In a series that defaults to lethal force for almost every situation, the inclusion of non-lethal options reveals a layer of player choice that most people never engage with. The stun gun appeared in GTA San Andreas as one of the more unusual additions to the arsenal, capable of incapacitating targets without killing them, which opened up mission approaches that lethal weapons simply couldn't accommodate. GTA 5 brought it back with a more refined implementation, allowing players to knock out targets cleanly in stealth sections. The cattle prod appeared in GTA Online as a melee stun weapon, absurd in premise and surprisingly effective in practice. Stun weapons never became mainstream in GTA's combat culture because the series rarely rewards restraint. But for players who found them and experimented, they represented something genuinely interesting: the acknowledgement that not every problem in Los Santos requires a body count. Special weapons. Special weapons are GTA's wildcard category, the weapons that don't fit anywhere else and are better for it. The series has a long history of including weapons that exist outside conventional military or criminal logic, and those weapons have produced some of the most memorable moments in franchise history. The jetpack in San Andreas wasn't strictly a weapon, but transformed aerial combat entirely. The Up and Atomizer in GTA Online fired a repulsion blast that launched vehicles and players through the air with physics-defying results. The Unholy Hellbringer and Widowmaker, added during GTA Online's Arena War update, were alien-themed energy weapons that fired sustained beams capable of cutting through crowds instantly. Special weapons in GTA exist because Rockstar understands that players will eventually exhaust conventional violence and need something genuinely surprising. They represent the series at its most playful, moments where the designers stopped asking what was realistic and started asking what would be the most fun thing that could possibly exist.